traded orders, but otherwise it's been the exact same bans, the exact same order for TSM. We'll see if anything changes here, and it's going to be Syndra actually, first time now removed from the offering. Before there was a Graves ban, before it was a Lulu ban. Now both those up.
Make sure Bjergsen can't play that for a third game in a row. TSM will have an interesting choice here. I think the Rumble is the right choice, since Balls was probably the highest performer on FlyQuest in that game 1. Make sure he doesn't get that champion again.
So if it's the same as games 1 and 2, Ashe is the first pick, and yep, still going to be the same. So a lot of these are remaining from before their pregame preps is, yes, we still want this champion.
And I think that while some people will attack the team's draft if they are losing in a series, the losses have not been draft issues, in my opinion. I think it has been execution-based. FlyQuest has come up short a couple times, but I think their drafts have been solid. Their game plan has been reasonable.
Yeah, something that I think TSM has definitely done on their way to the 2-0 lead here is identifying exactly what they need to do with that team composition to get a victory, because every game is a puzzle as far as how you're going to win and how is your opponent team going to win. And last game is an example. The focus they put onto Balls as Kennen in that top lane to make sure Renekton had priority was so key in being able to play the map.
This time around, we have a different look coming out from FlyQuest. For the first time all series, they've actually early picked their jungler. If they're going to get Kha'Zix in, they saw that was banned away before, and they don't want to have that happen again. So going for something a bit higher tier for Moon here.
And Moon has had some incredible Kha'Zix games, especially towards the start of the season when so many people were on the Kha'Zix hype train. And he's going to have a big one here if FlyQuest wants that hope of the reverse sweep.
Yeah, always difficult to play Kha'Zix into a Lulu, in my opinion, just because of the polymorph and shielding threat kind of trapping you in a team. Interesting choice there by Bjergsen with the Talia.
Yeah, Talia into it.
This is something that Crown has actually been playing a fair bit in the LCK. It's definitely not a super OP pick that it was when it first came out, but it's something that if you have really strong mastery of the champion, you still have extremely strong roaming potential, you can move around the map well, control space well, and you're really a threat to any split pushers if FlyQuest did lock that in.
We'll see what the style ends up being here. Karma going to move off the table. Of course, a tank still needed from FlyQuest. We'll see if that comes true in the top and or support role, but they're going to continue on with their bot lane bans. Now, worth pointing out, they had one with Ashe Karma into Varus Lulu before. Of course, there's no Karma available, but maybe they find another bully lane.
Yeah, the Kennen ban is a little bit peculiar to me, but it could also speak to TSM just wanting to have a Nautilus in the top lane again for the raw tankiness and having Bjergsen try and assist that with split push. The Talia as well does work very well in split push situations if you're looking to snowball a particular side of the map.
Same bans as the previous game. They're going to try to push him towards the Varus, but there are few champions as lane bully, as Karma is. Zyra would be my guess if you're still playing for lane dominance, but we'll see what ends up being in the bot lane.
And to your point from last game, I mean, Caitlyn is available here for TSM if they want to play a strong lane. Lulu Caitlyn very strong. It is safe as far as well with a 90 caliber net, very long range. So that is an option they could go for with the last pick.
And looks like they'd rather grab the Nautilus away first. I don't know if it's as much trying to react to the bot lane support pick, but making sure that Balls can't play this champion with Kennen off the table. They're continually removing what he had played. The Rumble's now been joining the bans. The Kennen's been joining the bans, and they take away the most premier tank left over. We'll see what he goes into it with Sean off the table as well.
Yeah, very difficult for him. The Maokai would be the let's put him on a tank and hope to neutralize, but Maokai does not shove anywhere near the level of Nautilus early on in the game. So while Balls will be able to have teamfight effectiveness if they don't fall behind, the lane should be going pretty heavily over to Hauntzer here.
The final pick to come through. We have seen Jinx a few times. It has won games, and again, I tend to agree that I think Caitlyn would be a great choice here, but we'll see if Jinx will be the pickup.
I would be very surprised if Jinx actually gets locked in. I think that we are going to see Varus or Caitlyn, and it will be the Varus. I mean, you know, you will run something standard. They want to close out this series, especially against FlyQuest, who is known for being able to turn things around. This is a time to show strength as TSM, to try to effectively close out the series and look as good as they can. Hopefully for them, go towards the finals.
Exactly. Cloud9 3-0'd Phoenix won yesterday. TSM would want to make a 3-0 happen as well from a confidence perspective, but against FlyQuest, they have been in this situation last week. They were down 0-2 to COG and potentially actually looked worse in those first 2 games against COG than they did in these 2 games against TSM.
I would say they for sure did. They got smashed by CLG in the first 2 games. And these, FlyQuest has had their moments, has skirmished well in the first game. In game 2, they had some comeback potential. If they can keep turning it up, they have a very standard composition. They have ball delivery. I do worry a little bit for the top lane matchup, though, as I think Maokai is quite a weak laner now.
He is a much weaker laner. This is the first time where Balls definitely, I would say, has a definitively weaker laning phase up against Hanser, so we'll see if that can get abused by Svenskeren ganking it. But what could be the final comments from these coaches for this series? Of course, we will see both these squads head to Vancouver for the 3rd place match and the finals. We'll see which one goes where. But game 3, it's TSM with triple match point. They've got 3 attempts now to close one out and make it their 9th consecutive NA LCS final. Of course, no team even comes close to that kind of record. It's been about 3 years since anyone on FlyQuest has won an NA LCS title, but there is a chance here to do it if they can reverse sweep TSM and head up against Cloud9 in the final there. But it's time for game 3 to say who can take this one home as TSM lead 2-0.
Well, it's going to have to start early, I think, for Moon and the rest of FlyQuest if they want to try to get something done. So much of the series has been revolving around the jungle and who's able to be active, who's able to get advantages for their team in the early game. This is a move that you see quite actually frequently with Taliyah, is to go down to bot lane and sneak into that bush if the team pushes forward. Your level 1 effectiveness is crazy.
Yeah, it's also frequent against Zyra, who wants to get as many seed spawns as possible.
They're actually trying to bait them forward, showing only the Lulu. We'll see if Lemon does move up.
They're going to start moving. Here's the ghost in for Taliyah. Does she have the rock shove? They're going to go for the Q for some damage. Ignite is on, and 2 summoners for 1. Those shorter cooldowns. Lemonation loses flash.
Yeah, the ghost is a pretty short cooldown in general, especially when you're using it this early on in the game. Does give the bottom lane an arguable advantage if they get gank support.
And I mean, one of the things that, besides the gank support, that is actually going to go in their favor is FlyQuest now has to play this much more safe in the bot lane. With the Ashe, very strong laner, Zyra as well, I feel, has the advantage over the Lulu. Now you have to play scared. You cannot get the edge that you may otherwise be able to get.
You have to play scared unless you know where Svenskeren is, in which case you'd have the Ignite advantage, because that could actually be very critical as far as early game all-ins.
Yeah, they're gonna have advantage, information I should say, for a very long time, but it's gonna be a 6-minute flash cooldown when it comes back up. Soul Lane's hit level 6 by 6 minutes in, and Sven will be at least level 5, so maybe very late into the laning phase you can find that gank come through. There's still, of course, much to be played. We'll see what happens. Bjergsen tries to fight up against High, getting some last hits. See how the mid lane goes. Bjergsen has consistently won his laning phase. Now, High has blind picked as mid laner, I want to say, every single game this series.
Yes.
This is the first time he's actually received maybe more than 1 mid lane ban against Bjergsen to push him off the pool. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, we know that High and Bjergsen have been going up against each other in mid lane for many years in the NALCS, and it used to be the fact that Bjergsen would kind of win the lane, but High would win the game in these situations for sure. Bjergsen has been doing both.
Moon is actually doing an interesting clear here. Straight buff to buff. Maybe trying to get something done early on or end up in a spot where TSM is not expecting it, because this is a bit of an atypical start. As Kha'Zix, you can kill off the Grump very easily with that isolation damage too.
Yeah, a few jokey tweets as well coming in about FlyQuest having TSM right where they want them. And if you think about it, I'd love to get some stats on this. So when High is in best of 5s and is down 0-2, I almost want to say he reverse sweeps more often than not, because it's happened 3 times in memory, twice in the gauntlet run of 2015, and then also last week against COG. So definitely not out of the realm of possibility.
It is an option. We'll see what happens here. You can see right now FlyQuest kind of understanding that Graves is bot side. You can see that Trinket Ward come out from Altec. And Lemon not playing too far forward.
So if you track Moon's path here, he's actually going to end up on top side. He has a smite available. He is looking pretty healthy. Maokai has incredible gank assist, so that is somewhere they could look to actually try to go. We'll see if he decides to end up there or is just going to do more of a safety full clear.
Yeah, he will be very healthy after killing this Scuttle Crab, though. Leaping onto it, knowing it's going to be on a 15-second cooldown, beats Svenskeren to the spot.
Little chunk right there, damage back and forth on both sides. All Graves will see is that the Scuttle's been taken, and you actually can't, I don't believe you can deduce when it was taken. There's no obvious timer for that, other than the fact that it was within a minute. He will invade towards the Gromp, and he will find the Gromp has been taken. Both level 4. Here comes the 1v1 right into melee range. Does favor Moon. No walls to hit as well, but he's going to find the bounce anyway. Moon is actually going to be the one forced away. Both top laners coming down.
Who can roam first is the big question.
Bjergsen is coming as well, so is High.
And it's flash forced, actually. It is a summoner spell advantage to FlyQuest.
One of the things that's very interesting in this matchup with these exact masteries is with Storm Raider's Surge, you can actually create distance from the Kha'Zix and kite them out and sometimes win these 1v1 duels despite having the early disadvantage of damage because you don't have Thunderlords.
Yeah, finding the wall there by Svenskeren to get the bounce back on the Q may have actually saved his life because it procs Storm Raiders and allowed him to gain the distance to make it to that blast cone and make the escape.
Absolutely true. It was a close one, but it was what happened here. High gonna get knocked in, but he is equal farm, so I do want to give props to High for finally matching up well in this laning phase matchup against a player that everyone kind of calls the best laner in North America. Bjergsen had been winning the matchup. High is equal for now. Moon now looking for the mid lane gank. Controller knows that he has not been seen. Elimination taking a big chunk though. Here comes the play into Bjergsen. Can they find him? Ghost is still down. Burns the flash. A lot of damage out, but here, a few more will do it. The flash follows in. The first blood comes through. 3 straight first bloods at the hands of Moon.
And it doesn't even cost a summoner there from High. They trade just flashes, no ignite burn, no flash burn by High. That is fantastic, and as he hits level 6, they could look to set it up again.
Yeah, and it was right before Bjergsen wanted to go back in lane. Those are the greedy waves sometimes you try and push because you want to have your lost chapter gold when you go back to base, but Bjergsen now has to come back with double Dorans and a null magic.
Now, it's interesting because with him buying the control, he could have bought Lost Chapter. The item is cheap enough, but he is going to go for the more defensive option. Bjergsen is now missing summoners. This gank is just very well played.
Yeah,
waits out the flash. Flashes over the knockup.
And even the control ward in the side brush to know that he is actually safe to go in for this and that it hasn't been detected. A very nice early gank there by Moon, and he's got the better of Svenskeren so far, forcing out the jungler in his own jungle, and then getting that kill mid lane.
Yeah, and just to clarify, Bjergsen's Ghost was down from the river skirmish, not from the level 1 fight, because it still does have that fairly short cooldown, and you use it liberally, but very smart of Moon to punish in that moment.
Definitely agree. Well played by them. Elimination's flash is now back, and that has not been punished. Now, maybe indirectly by the fact that they maybe didn't play as aggro and Wild Turtle and is in a better spot this lane, but the spell is back up without Elimination dying, so we're to some extent back on equal footing down to the bot lane. And it was not as aggressive, by the way, as the previous game where they were winning lane with the Karma.
And farm will actually be evened out very well because FlyQuest has a little bit of a, not necessarily a full freeze, but the minion wave is actually denying a lot of the farm away from Turtle. So there's quite a bit of CS for Altec to actually pick up here, and he will end up a couple farms.
Not to mention that Zyra sometimes lies to you. If you kill a plant, it counts as one last hit. So it's maybe not even as good for Wild Turtle as you may think. Individual gold-wise, it's 20 ahead for Altec, so they're essentially equal.
Very competitive, and whoever hits level 6 first has the potential to make those pretty big plays. Slight advantage for Altec.
Yeah, I mean, Ashe Zyra, level 6 is extremely powerful. If you hit the Ashed Arrow, easy full combo follow-up with the root into ultimate from Zyra, and that can work great with the Kha'Zix gank coming in.
Look at this nice play from TSM, the early pressure via jungle and mid, and they get the blue buff steal pretty cleanly. Level 6 in for Graves, same for Kha'Zix. Moon waiting in the wings.
And he actually got spotted out by that ward in the brush from TSM, so he thinks he's not spotted because he's by a control ward. They know he has moved by here, and Bjergsen should be playing around that.
You can see how far back he is playing. Knows that there's leap, shockwave shenanigans available. Bjergsen missing his summoners.
They're going to be playing fairly conservatively as far as not wanting to push up the lane. Moon still pathing pretty aggressively around. Yes, they did see him in the ward earlier, but they would have no idea he's here now. Bjergsen cheating to the other side because of where they spotted him, potentially.
They find it. Not yet. And he can be safe under the turret. Turrets do break isolation.
With Haunter missing as well, this is something you have to be so scared of. They have 3 pink wards from TSM in the topside river, facilitating the roams back and forth from Haunter, which he loves to do, and you really have to respect that because it's such an easy setup to that knockback from Talia if the Nautilus comes in with an ultimate.
Exactly. We mentioned how the Nautilus shoves in the Maokai and has the stronger laning phase. It's not like Nautilus actually kills the Maokai. You get the advantages in other ways oftentimes. Shoving him in, and now Svenskeren coming in from the back with Bjergsen.
Up into the queue. Ball's going to get the shield from the root and now is forced to run. Does he need to flash? He does, but I don't know if he actually needed to. Was not going to get knocked up by Bjergsen.
It looked like he was respect flashing the knockback that could have come out from Talia, but Bjergsen never even threw that skill shot.
You can do that on reaction. That's actually, you don't have to predict that.
It wasn't even in range, so maybe a little bit too much respect given over, and that's going to be a lot of damage on the top side turret. and more of an edge in farm for Hanser.
Looks like Grace is staying in the lane. TP is going to be forced out of balls, but now it's a flashless Maokai, the one that shouldn't have been flashless but is, and turret will not go down, but it's a point of pressure that TSM can easily come back to. The turret's low and it's no flash.
So one of the critical things now here for High is to keep mid lane shoved. When your top laner is vulnerable like this, you need to be pushing into Talia to stop her ability from roaming around the map and actually pushing down that turret.
Yeah, blue buff Lost Chapter Orianna should have no problems doing it, as long as he's not getting caught by harass from Bjergsen. He's got the refillable potion on both sides, so only one charge left from High. As long as he's keeping that shoved, generally his side lanes stay pretty safe.
Look at this patience in the bot lane here. They're trying to see if TSM will come forward, and
Turtle
does show.
Ooh, okay, good flash, good flash.
But great trade for FlyQuest,
of course.
right? You know, you get that Ash Arrow out. I love the early attempts on those. The cooldown is much lower than that of a flash, and once again, now can look to capitalize on that when the Ash Arrow comes up.
Yep, Turtle maybe a bit greedy. He says, all right, they're not staying this long, and of course was wrong. Elimination's recall gets stopped. Turtle will farm safely under turret. We'll see if the repeat play comes in 5 minutes.
Turtle wants to make sure he can get that Blade of the Ruin King. Looks very well with Lulu on top of just being a strong mid-out.
And this is actually just 2 games in a row now that FlyQuest bot lane has had the advantage. They have the turret damage advantage, they have the CS advantage. They've been playing very well in the 2v2, and we have to accord them that respect.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, have to play for the bot, then turn around.
And this is the one moment where High didn't have mid lane shoved in. Bjergsen immediately goes to try to make pressure elsewhere because he'd gone back for that Morella Namiko.
And no TP on balls. TP for Hanser. TSM is trying to make a play around that to force for this turret. This could be 5-man bot very quickly.
They do know because of Hawkshot. They saw them come through the jungle, so FlyQuest know about this. They've got some wards over the walls, and they say, yep, this dive is not going to happen.
Yeah, it's the play that TSM wanted to make, but they didn't want to take that risk because it was fairly telegraphed, and FlyQuest did see it coming.
Ball's pushed away, and the honey fruit stolen. Hanser taking a quick snack as he goes back to his own lane.
And that top lane turret's actually getting incredibly low. Triple Thorns ring by both the top laners to try and match wave clear and early strength plus mana regen, but even then, you're seeing the discrepancies between the Nautilus and the Maokai.
And a lot of that is really the power of the Graves. Having this ranged jungler who just walked in a lane after pushing off the turret, you can crush turrets as Graves faster than probably any other meta jungler.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's the best of any common machine jungler. Arrow's going to land this time. Turtle does not
here's
have
the combo.
Away. There's the knockup. Ignite's going to be enough. Kill's going to go over to Altec and a slow to chase by Alfrost. Push him away. Nicely played by FlyQuest.
2v2 outplays right there, but now TSM wants to go get the turret. I was getting a little excited right there when he hopped on the blast cone, but really, that was just FlyQuest and Altec plus Lemon Nation making the right play. We talked about the flash being down. Heal was actually down at the time too. They just make the proper 2v2 play.
Mid, they still got to respect that ball right there. The shockwave threat keeps you're going to do much.
They also need to respect the fact that Hanser and Senscared are missing and are roaming down here. They could be in the jungle, and they are. They're looking to take away another blue buff, but this is 2 times in a row, 2v2 lane, take the turret, get a kill. Great stuff from the FlyQuest bot lane.
600 gold lead for FlyQuest, and it means that farm has been traded equally. Again, you're looking at about 900 gold worth of kills versus a 300 gold first blood bonus. Lo and behold, 600 gold difference. This game has been equal in the laning phase. Different objectives have fallen either way. FlyQuest are slightly ahead, and maybe this is the start of that reverse sweep. Maybe. Who knows?
It certainly could be. One thing that you have to be a little bit concerned about is if the opposing team's front line becomes a lot stronger. You know, the Nautilus backed up by the Lulu is already going to be quite powerful, and he has a gold lead. When you play standard front-to-back compositions, oftentimes it's whoever's front line lasts longer is the team that wins.
Yeah, we'll see which way it goes. Now, there are some tank-killing tools on the FlyQuest side. We know that Altec's going to go Ruin King, of course, and if Elimination does go Leandry, it's a pretty good magic damage threat. And maybe that gets a little bit better at knocking down Hanser's tank stats. You have to see.
Yeah, and 13 minutes in, we're not quite at that phase yet. Cloud Drake is the first one up, which is generally looking like it's somewhat deprioritized by these teams, but with the bottom lane being taken by FlyQuest, that's kind of their next objective. So Hanser has teleport, didn't make use of it the first time. The balls could match. Does FlyQuest get punished when trying to make this power play down bottom?
What happens? Going to be a smite fight for this one. Picked up. Finally, Moon winning a smite battle for what might have been the first time all series. But he does get it, and the blue buff goes away.
I'll give him more credit than that. I remember him taking away the Gromp at least in one of the games between the two. But
you're right. Well, that wasn't really a smite battle. You know, that was
It was a Smite kerfuffle.
Okay, whatever. You're right. I don't want to sound or anything, but it is worth noting that Svenskeren has won all the major Smite battles for objectives like Drakes and Barons, and this is the first time I've seen a blue steal that was contested.
Yeah, and they get control of that area on top of the blue buff, so it also prevents Bjergsen from roaming on top of that when that side of his jungle is so warded. It makes him cheat to one side and then not have the same types of roam opportunities.
These opportunities do present themselves, but it's been Bjergsen shoving. 7 minion difference, not too big. Going for the early Leandries, the flat pen build, the anti-squishy build coming through for Bjergsen.
And it's pretty important for FlyQuest that High gets this level 11 before they make a play towards Cloud Drake. Getting that second rank in Shockwave, much larger power spike than the second rank into Talia's ultimate. So if they could make a move down into this Drake area, this is the time to do so.
Yeah, and so much of the importance of Talia's ultimate is about positioning. It's about cutting people out of the fights, because it's not a combat ultimate. So, you know, Bjergsen needs to position well and utilize that effectively to help set up Haunter or to cut off the fight.
We're going to find here this gold basically equal again, though. TSM found a good time getting some farm. A 30 minion lead in the top lane to be part of that one. See if they can find that play. Turret is alive and healthy.
Yeah, but I don't necessarily like this setup by TSM because it's so telegraphed. They did not have war control of the area.
TP coming in from balls.
FlyQuest trying to counter it.
He's way far back, though. They could actually just turn on balls and go for it.
Ultech's really low.
See if they can find something for this one. Ulti is on, looking for Hans, and now the tanks both taking a lot of damage here. The flash through, but here comes the shields. And High getting attacked right now by Bjergsen, forced to run away from this one. Shockwave not going to land either. Beautifully played by the mid laner of TSM, and Weaver's Wall gonna cut off elimination. 2 easy kills picked up at the end of it. Well played by TSM, making that one happen.
Way too disjointed there from FlyQuest. Ball CP's first, but he's so far away from the team, and then High losing the duel against Bjergsen means they don't have the threat of the team fight ultimate. He misses the Shockwave, and that allows TSM to commit.
And what keeps happening time and time again in this series is TSM is reacting better in the moment. They're playing the fights better because that was a telegraph move down bottom. FlyQuest wanted the flank teleport, but Altec couldn't move forward. A lot of things went wrong for them in that fight, including High missing the Shockwave, and it results in TSM's early game lead.
There we go. Drake picked up, and the second turret of the game means 1,500 gold and the first Drake of the game. TSM in control now.
Watching this one more time, the Ash Arrow just into Bifrost needed to be delayed for almost this moment in the fight. And then while everything was happening with Haunter, pay attention to High and Bjergsen up top lane.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so critical when the Shockwave is missed. That's so much of the team fight threat here that is down. Means TSM can collapse in. They don't have to worry about grouping up. They pile in, grab a couple of kills, and it was a fight where there were skirmishes on either side, and TSM came out on top in both.
Really nicely played by them, and they have been, throughout this year, the better players overall. The mechanics certainly something very important. And TSM looking for a bit, but it's going to be the jump in for FlyQuest. 1 kill picked, but here comes Nautilus. Here comes High, though. The Shockwave onto himself pulls in Haunter. He's going to get a help, and Wild Turtle's going to turn it around. And the 1-for-1 with reinforcements on the way. TSM looking for more. Not quite going to find this, but Altec is not long for the world. The flash follow is there, and Bjergsen picks him up.
Yeah, 2-for-1 on the FlyQuest dive. Haunter's got ultimate. He really wants to keep this going.
And they're here. Svenskeren's in the way, and the kills picked up yet again. TSM clearly ahead on this one. 3-for-1 in the battle. Looking for Moon a little bit more. Q's going to be back up. Goes for the shot off the turret, maybe. Almost picks it up. Nice juke by Moon. The jump to the side, get away from the ultimate.
Really got to see the extended chase thanks to the Storm Raider's surge, giving him an early movement speed boost. But this does go from bad to worse for FlyQuest because they missed a lot of spells in that follow-up dive, specifically High not finding his rhythm on Orianna this game.
Yeah, they want to force a play, get something back here on the top side, and the initial kill is great, but fights again in the mid lane.
Underneath the turret, 5v1. Down goes Balls. Probably shouldn't have been there, but a well-played dive all the same. TSM find another with the Nautilus ultimate to set that one up. Nice depth charge, and this game is getting broken apart rapidly. 4,000 gold now for TSM, under 18 minutes.
Yeah, and in the chaos, it's actually TSM who is coming out on top right here, starting to make the game a little bit more wide open. 4,000 gold in about the last 2 or 3 minutes, and it's so interesting when we look at the season as a whole. With all the parity that we seem to have during the best of threes throughout the season, TSM dropping a bunch of games but still winning matches, FlyQuest jumping out to this early lead. You got Phoenix 1 competing for those top 3 spots all year. Yet, if TSM does continue to extend this, you could still see TSM and C9 in the finals again with double 3-0s potentially being more dominant than ever in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a pretty crazy turn of events, but Bjergsen moving in here.
Not quite getting the kill for himself, but he tried.
And I do think it's funny that we can get back to that spot, and you know that would be a rematch of the summer finals from last year in Toronto. And C9, you know, they fell short there, and you know, are looking to have this resurgence. TSM was supposed to be the weaker team without Double Lift, but here they are again, looking to punch their ticket to the finals and looking damn good doing it.
Yeah, and TSM has definitely had to change their play style from last split to this split. They do not have the same early game movements that they did last split, but they still come together very strongly in team fights. And here we see one once again.
Nation going to be dropped out. High will be stunned on top of this one as well. The root is there.
Coming in as
Wild growth. Shockwave buys a bit of time, but he's still going to fall for this one. Nearly gets the kill. Ignite was never cast, and the damage doesn't come through onto Wild Turtle. The chase, not going to be more for Bjergsen, but still a 2 for 0 is solid. Wild Turtle with the setup. Nicely done.
Just stays alive. The Ignite most likely could have ticked him down, but High may not have even gotten in range for it towards the end of it. TSM has continued to push.
Look for this turret. They're not quite going to find it yet.
Hauntzer has just been so much more effective at being in the right place at the right time throughout this series. You know, Balls pushing out the side wave. Yes, he has closed the gap a little bit in the farm, but Hauntzer always does what the team needs and seems to be so effective at doing it.
Yeah, and that can spread as well into the rest of TSM's style. You look at some of the stats that someone like Bjergsen would have this split when compared to last split, and he's not tops in many of them. His damage per minute is low, but it's about doing what needs to be done to win the game. And even when you're looking at TSM's season as a whole, they've always said it's about getting better for playoffs. It's not about winning every game or winning every match. And maybe this is kind of what they've been working towards, if they can actually make it into the finals without dropping a single game in the playoffs.
Absolutely, and we'll see. Maybe they can even win it without dropping a game if they can make this continue to go against Cloud9. We will await them if they can close this out or any of the next 2 games afterwards. If they don't, mid lane tier 2 going to fall. 4-1 in turrets. Root's going to find Balls again, and that's going to be not quite good night to the tree. Multi not meaning much for Svenskeren either, but Altec going to get hooked in. That's going to be a dead Ashe, and down she goes. Oh. The kill is almost there, but they can't quite find it. So many narrow margins, but the gold lead's starting to show itself.
I mean, you can't even see Svenskeren's health, and it's really flashback to last game where FlyQuest is down on gold, so close on the margins to making that big play happen off of a high shockwave. But when you're down on gold, those people get to live with the tiniest bit of health, and that is why TSM can go more aggressive and keep getting away with it.
Sometimes it's just the experience to have another level that allows you to live with that shockwave high. Last game when he landed the shockwave at pretty much the same time, he was one upgrade from completing Ludens. This time he switched to the Leandri's build, but it's pretty much the same margin of not picking up that kill.
Got more AP, and he probably would have got it there.
Yeah, close margins, but they're not coming through right now. TSM still the team with the lead. 5,500 up, looking to close it out.
And it's also Turtle, despite losing in lane, you know, the last couple of games, has been very effective at moving around the map, hitting his ultimates, catching out balls there. He always seems to get an edge once the laning phase ends because he's moving around well with the team and really hitting some great Paris ultimates.
Getting the damage up, but he's making things work, and now it's going to be the Ocean Break pickup for TSM. Looks like no contest at all, and more permanent buffs going to be added to the roster here. TSM retaining their control. 6,000 up, 2 Drake buffs. Both pretty much out of combat buffs, but still useful in their own right. And wait to see what kind of FlyQuest comeback they can concoct.
Yeah, at this point, it is becoming more and more difficult, but they need to keep their heads in the game. Most of it, you would think, would be if High can land some miracle shockwave, but it's so difficult with all the lanes shoved in and this giant gold deficit.
It is very tough, but they do have good setup and follow-up if they can pull it off with the Ashe Arrow, the Maokai flying in, and you hit a shockwave into his Zyra ultimate, gold leads don't matter too much.
That's true, as long as the damage is there to actually kill them off. You imagine any one of these fights, if he had 500 more, an Amp Tome kills Svenskeren. And that's just what it comes down to if they have the gold it needs. And we'll see. Looking at the Baron bait, TSM plenty of control wards. They've always been good at vision. They're going to find not an arrow target. A quick dodge out for Biofrost.
Yeah, difficult try there by Altec. Biofrost was speeding himself up on Lulu, so made it much more dodgeable.
And this is the beginning of the setup for TSM. You can see 3 control wards around this area, 1 in the pixel brush, 1 in the side brush, and 1 here in mid lane. They're trying to pull FlyQuest in, and they're looking to get a killing blow fight.
And Haunter is actually hoping to get the home guard
far.
Exactly. They're going to be going for a full flank right here.
Maybe too far. This is super far away, but let's see if he can pull it off.
He's going to run through some minions. Altec's going to see him. Hook is there, but no one's there to reach the target. Moon's going to 1v1 Bjergsen. Look for the solo kill and not going to find it. Bjergsen gets it back. Shotgun catches Biofrost, but the backline is getting evaporated. Elimination down in health. Haas is going to look for it. Got to find it. 2 for 1 so far. TSM. Altec puts the heal in for the Wild. Turtle engaged.
Turtle
they
down.
get the kill picked
Bjergsen's
up.
low.
He needs to kite away and stay alive. They get Sven. Yes, they will. 3-2 so far. Advantage to FlyQuest. Balls can't find another kill just yet.
And despite Haunter finding that flank, he was so far from his team cannot follow up. Hai does a great job zoning them out with the Orianna ball, and FlyQuest wins the fight.
Yeah, and TSM wanted so bad to get the flank teleport, they just seemed to force that play because Haunter was potentially in position to help start the fight in a front-to-front. But what ended up happening as this fight played out, and we're going to see in the replay, is TSM almost ended up having to fight a 4v5 through the tank line.
FlyQuest maybe staying around too long. TSM is still behind them, and they could get flanked, but Haunter actually got cut off by that wall. He can't get through. Now they have to cancel it.
We were going buys a couple of seconds of time, but Bjergsen's in a bad spot. There's the route in onto Balls. Doesn't matter too much, but there's a chase through. Nice pickup by Biofrost and Bjergsen. 5v4 on the map.
And Altec has just not been able to hit the arrows when it matters. Misses another big one there, just like last game. Misses the arrow on Bjergsen. Now it's TSM moving towards Baron with the advantage.
Such a critical moment right there, having Hai fall, because again, FlyQuest was hoping to make it back in the game. Now it's 5v4 Baron.
Come in now.
The damage output here. Moon wants into this one. 6 doesn't help them. Baron. They know it's not down just yet. Ball's the front line. 5v4.
Wild Turtle and Haunter have ultimate, so they want to fight this.
Hooks in on the Balls. The tank is going to drop pretty rapidly. Gets a shield, buys a bit more time. Stun's going to land on a Moon, I believe, in the backside.
They get them off Baron. If they could get out, that's big, but Balls will be going down.
Roots buys some time. He's going to fall for this one. Q's not going to get him away.
Hai is now back up, though. He has to run there, and they did stomp the Baron. So while giving up a kill is not great, they avoided Catastrophe off that play.
And to kill the wards away as well, so FlyQuest do get a bit of control for now.
Yeah, and watching this happen one more time, you see how far away Haunter tried to teleport in on because they wanted the full cutoff, but then look at how difficult it is for TSM to actually get into the fight. Yes, Bjergsen wins the 1v1 up top right there, but the Shockwave and the Zyra ultimate just keep the TSM DPS from joining the fight in a timely fashion.
Yeah, Lemon was huge in that fight. Triple root into the triple hit ultimate. Great play from him. Zones out the team, and they can't follow up, which, you know, nets FlyQuest another lease on life in this game as they pick up some gold from the turrets and stave off the Baron.
And it buys some time, but this game's still 5,000 apart. TSM gonna typically win any fights, but it's all about the execution. As you mentioned before, the Shockwaves can always turn things around.
And the gold on these frontliners, we talked about it early in the game, is such a big discrepancy now that despite Maokai being inherently more tanky with the ultimate, the Lulu to back up the Haunter and a massive gold lead with a full item advantage means the frontline is so strong.
Exactly. Maokai's ultimate gives you damage reduction, but a Randwin's actually gives you more damage reduction if you're talking about actual health pools.
So does Lulu with big shields, but they're looking to fight once again here. Balls.
Locked in the tank, and Pop sealed the into the back line. They go once again. Arrow's going to land on Bjergsen, but he gets away with it. Mikhail's Crucible actually going to be the moment there. Once again, damage on Bjergsen. Nice slow. Moon's going to cut away for this one. Haunter back into the front, looks for Balls. Hai knocked into the air, stays alive, but Balls out of HP and does get flattened. Moon's forced to jump away as well. 5v4. Health bars are fine for TSM.
Hai still has Shockwave, but it's just really hard to get in range to do so. Haunter's super low as well, so he'll have to recall the base, and there's a chance we see some resetting here.
Altec
gonna get caught out. Flashing away, stays alive. Moon goes in. Can't get it though. The kill traded thanks to elimination. Gets the shield. Where's the shot gonna go? There lines on the Biofrost, and it's gonna be the kill. Now Hai has to run away for Sven, and here comes Bjergsen off on his cavalry. Takes another one down. 5 kills to basically 2.
That's going to be Baron, I think, for TSM. They have 3 men up, including the jungler and a tank. They can move straight over to it, and will take it down.
The timing of Bjergsen's Weaver's walls on Taliyah this game has been so good to close out the ends of these fights. That was an incredibly chaotic sequence, but he held it until just the right moment to pretty much ensure 2 extra kills for TSM.
Extremely well done by him, and once again, I mean, they're actually delaying now to try to get the Baron on all 5 members. So they're going to chunk it down low, maximizing the buff, realizing there's no threat of a steal from FlyQuest.
Nice Nicely done. Well played, TSM. The best play they could have made there. 10 kill to the Baron.
And this was an extension of the fight because we'd already seen balls fall. Moon goes for kill, but the extra shielding does make this a non-ideal trade right there. Yes, the shockwave closes through, but it's still Bjergsen and Svenskeren making the run right here. Bjergsen hops off for Altec. Svenskeren makes sure he finishes off high. Good coordination by TSM down the stretch.
2 fights in a row, though. Lemon pretty big there, picking up 2 kills with that ultimate and the plants to follow up on the shockwave. You know, does mean at least they trade something back, but they are in a dire situation, and TSM is looking so strong.
Yeah, and FlyQuest really just wants and needs to hold on here. We know that if you hit 6 items, the Maokai is tankier than the Nautilus. The Zyra will scale better than the support Lulu if you can get those maxed AP items in the support role. But it is just such a long distance until they make it to that spot. And with this Baron buff, TSM going for some big plays.
Oh, nice use of the Weaver's Wall. Zone them off the turret. They will get a lot of damage down here from Turtle.
There's going to land only onto the tank. The kill's used again to keep Nautilus, which maybe is not needed.
Turret's gone.
Yeah, turret's going to fall for this one. Mountain Drake helping as well. 9,000 gold lead. Not going to land the anchor here. Falls down a full tank item. Has a hard time front landing against Wild Turtle and Bjergsen and Svenskeren. Siege may continue. 2 minutes left in the Baron buff still.
Haunter's really just hoping to land one of these dredge lines to start the front-to-front team fight where they see TSM as being the stronger team.
And one of the big problems is even if Ball soaks that up, TSM has enough damage. He's not tanky enough to survive.
Absolutely. Here comes the next play. Distortion gets Sven down to half. Root's going to land on a 1. High's going to take up the CC as well, but stays alive, and it's going to force the disengage. With a half HP Graves, they say, let's reset. Let's go back into that through the jungle.
Yeah, it's very difficult to push into that small space against an Orianna, let alone Orianna Zyra. So once anyone was a little bit low, TSM decided to reset.
Just got to be so impressed with the solo laners here from TSM. Yeah, working so well together, you know, throughout the season, and coming to this point, it's 1 game away from the finals. They're looking so good again.
Make it happen right here. The flash root, the shockwave, but it pulls Wild Turtle a bit away. The damage on the Sven is a bit good, but it's not enough to kill him off. And Ball's going to drop right away. Kill picked up. Now the root, they've got high. They've got the kill in the backline. Altec's gone as well. There's no carries left. It's done. It's finished. It's TSM sweeping. The reversal not going to come through. The FlyQuest road to the finals ends here. It is TSM making it 9 unbroken finals trips in a row. They head to battle Cloud9 undefeated in playoff matches in 2017, in playoff games even, and they close us out 3-0.
The dynasty continues for TSM as they were the better team today and look so strong going into the finals.
And they've also been the better team all season. TSM has talked about how they want to finish first in the regular season. They want to have a strong push into the playoffs, and they've done that. They finished the season as the best team in the regular. They also 3-0 FlyQuest to just get that rematch of the 2016 Summer Split playoffs against Cloud9.
Extremely impressive, but credit still has to be given to FlyQuest, the team that everyone counted out at the start of the year. They're supposed to be 10th. They're now in the top 4, fighting for 3rd, and they can still hold their heads up high.
And with how well they played against TSM, this was certainly a closer match than many expected. The quality of their play, you have to consider, they've got a really good shot at besting Phoenix 1. That, yes, you're seeing some sadness on their faces. They knew these games were close enough, they probably could have won. But in 6 days, they will play Phoenix 1. And that match, I think, is incredibly close.
Yeah, they're still going to have to recover from this one, though, because both Phoenix 1 and FlyQuest did suffer 3-0 defeats. We can't forget that. These TSM and Cloud9 teams, who were the #1 and 2 seeds during the regular season, showed that they were worthy of that placement. The 3 fairly quick wins, even though they were close for a lot of the early game, once TSM had that edge, they were closing out those victories strongly.
Yeah, they certainly will. And I think so much of the credit has to go to Haunter. You know, playing some losing matchups, obviously had a good one in the last game, you know, extremely adept on the carries, extremely adept on those tanks, and always there for the big engages in these team fights that seem to be the big game changers.
Yeah, and TSM continually tries to round out their style and how they're going to win the games. And they have such strength in those solo lanes that when they get Wild Turtle onto a Varus, he's focused on exactly his role in these games. And even in game 1, his role was actually to bring damage. And he was able to do that on Lucian. So it's not having Doublelift who's trying to carry every game, but the team has taken on a bit of a different identity, and it's still putting them into the finals.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well for themselves. I do want to give Wild Total some credit just in general because it's going to be very easy to point at him and say, oh, look, he lost lane to Altec Elimination, but frequently those were losing matchups. He's supposed to lose lane based on champ select in several of those games. He gets a closer one here with the Varus Lulu, and he looks a whole bit better. In the early game, they got the lead, and again, in his team fighting, it was very solid.
And I'd also say he was dominant game 1 on the Lucian, and very pivotal with some Varus ultimates in game 2 and 3.
Yep, absolutely agree. So 3-0 sweep for TSM, well played to them, but now it's time to send it downstage to Captain Flowers with an interview with TSM's victorious bot laner.